Don't let them play I'm bad tonight. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Because I can still do the Chinese splits.
Uh-oh.
I can still do the, man, what? Don't even, we know the whole Thriller routine. Don't even get me, see. My neck is already getting ready for, see, I'm a
Technically, the Thriller just started, so you got,
OMG. Okay, I'm about to go find someplace to get it in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Just Norwood 2.0, and of course I'm Norwood Young. I hope everybody's doing well. So let's jump right into it. It's time for me to get on my soapbox. So I want to start by saying to you that it was not my intention to be here again. It was not my intention to be on the internet as often as I am with my performances and things of that nature. The reason for that is I met a gentleman a few months back, and we met under some other business circumstances that did not work out for them. And we became friends. He came to a couple of my performances and began to then refer to me as legend. Now, he's from Nigeria, no knowledge of myself or my past history in America. It was a little interesting that he would always refer to me as legend. Whenever he would text, "Good morning, legend," this, that, and the other. One thing led to another, and he thought, man, we should really put your residencies and your performances on the internet and whatever. And then I gave him a copy of my book. And then it was decided that we should delve into this thing as much of a platform, but a platform with a purpose. Because if anyone knows anything about my history, it was very interesting. And he felt that because of my history and what I've been through and what I've experienced and where I am now, that my story could be beneficial to this newer generation for those who have no idea of who Norwood Young is. So with that, I had forgotten, because it had been since 2011, 10, how cruel the internet could be. When you're new to the internet as a somewhat celebrated person, it's just natural to see what the people are saying. So I have forgotten that element, that dark side. So it became quite a culture shock when a couple of viral posts had gone on, and I would just go onto the comments and see what the people were saying. And a lot of it was really, really ugly. Not only ugly, but hateful. There is no reason to hate the way it was written and for it to be written. And so it did affect me. And of course, Ken, who's the gentleman I'm talking about, my team, my producer, my guy, as most people, don't pay any attention. Don't look at it. The deal is this. I don't pay attention in terms of it affecting me. What affects me is that at this stage in the game, I don't want any poison, darkness, or hatred associated with my name. When I had dues to pay or a point to prove, then yeah, bump it. I don't care, whatever. Now I care. I don't want any part of my legacy to be attributed to somebody else's hatred and somebody else's darkness. The difference between then and now is this. Then it hurt me to my core. Then it depressed me back then. Now, now I have a very, very different attitude because I am extremely compassionate to those people who say those hurtful and harmful things because they clearly weren't loved. They clearly are lonely. They clearly have no one who listens to them. So with all of that and no support and no one to talk to, and obviously not loving themselves at all. Of course, someone who is an easy target, right in front of their faces, they feel at liberty to just say whatever the hell. The old me would say, go kill yourself. The new me, or the evolved me, has compassion. Because now I just look at those people as, let's see what I can relate to. I can relate to surgery. It's tantamount to scar tissue, keloids. That the wound is healed, But sometimes there's that ugly ass scar tissue, that keloid, that nasty thing that just won't go away. And guess what you do? It's there, done. So I said that to say this. Of course I care, but does it affect me? Not in the least bit. Because then I had no control over what was coming on my timeline. If it was there, it was there. But now, it's not about the negative comments that are being said, it's about the poison being spread. And what I noticed is that if one person has something to say, then all of those ugly, nasty varmints attach themselves and want to piggyback on that. I don't want that association. I don't deserve that association. So, and then the other side of it is this, and you got to be careful what you say. I was not a dude who had a whole bunch of money who just got up one day and said, "Hey, let's cut up our nose 4 times. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that." No, 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 no. In my case, I was publicly having a mental breakdown, and I didn't even know it myself. I fell for the fact that because I had money, I could fix things. And in my mind, what I was fixing was actually a band-aid from all the pain that I had suffered from sexual childhood abuse from a very, very young age to my early teenage years. So when it finally started surfacing after star searching, after pieces of a dream, I started hearing voices in my head from my assailant, always calling me pretty boy. You pretty boy. You think that you. So at some point in my life, even though I had a flourishing career, starting a career, voices started coming to my head. I would look in the mirror and hear those voices. So in my mind, well, but I'm in Hollywood, I got some money. Let's just erase that pretty boy thing. So I did anything in my power to remove that. And I have self-mutilated and totally disfigured myself, but the voices went away. And then there came a point when I actually looked at the monster I created. I didn't condone it, but I understood where a lot of the negative comments came from. I was going through mental anguish then, but I did not know that. All I was doing was covering it up, despite what anybody had to say. But the voices went away. So one part of me thought I had won, but no, I was still mentally breaking down. So a lot of the reason that I decided to leave not only the house and not only the money and the this and the that, I just needed a fresh start. I needed to go somewhere where nobody knew of my homes. They knew nothing but my voice. So when I came here, and I was cool, so I met this dude named Ken who talks me into going through this again. I've forgotten. But this time, I'm so proud of the fact that I'm not affected here or here by the keloids, by those with dark souls, with dark hearts. I don't associate with those people, and I don't want them on my timeline. So the deal is this, and I'm not talking to you because if you're here, you're obviously Team Norwood. But I just need you to know that I will not expose you to the ugly and the hatred. So now, before I even wake up, Ken has removed whatever said. I don't know nothing. Everything's beautiful. Now, here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. There, there have been 1 or 2 comments that are off color, but funny, but not based on hatred. So this, I was, I was wearing my hair straight then, and some dude said, "I need to know how you gonna be black, white, Asian, and Latino at the same time." That cracked me up. Then this other dude said, "I'm trying to figure out if this dude is 26 or 86." And then somebody else said he's 26. that, that was funny to me because it wasn't based on hatred, you see. I'm down. Let's have fun. This is my fourth nose. This is my fourth nose. The fourth one I got on botched. That's funny. It's not based on hatred. So I said that to say, you always got to be careful if you choose to judge. I don't judge, but you always got to be careful because you never know what somebody's journey was. And if I were not a man who was raised with nothing but love and support and God, I would have killed myself by now. So now I am at a place where you cannot affect me. Knock yourselves out. Because number one, nobody's going to see it, and you're wasting your time. And I encourage those who just feel the need to be hateful, you got to first learn to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you don't have time to hate on other people. You know, when you mind the business that pays you, you don't have the time to be in everybody else's business. Okay, I got that off my chest. I'm good. And let's get started with the show. So, in Hancock Park, I was always notorious for my parties. I gave a great party. In fact, outside of my music in Hollywood, I am synonymous for my parties because they were kind of out of the box. No, what box? Anything that I could think of, my imagination created. So I'm going to give you a few samples of a few parties, and unfortunately, many of them were prior to social media, and I have some footage of some things, but the earlier ones I don't. So use your imagination. So I'm going to give you the list of the parties and the scenarios, and let your mind do the thinking. The first party was way before its time. It was called Dinner for Two in the 20th century. Guess what that was, y'all? Bridgerton. You. So everyone was sent an invitation on a parchment paper scroll that was burned on the edges, so you had to open it up and, on the something something day, you are henceforth invited to whatever. So I even sent images of costumes, and I sent addresses to where you can get your costumes and this, that, and the other. Because if you didn't come in costume, you weren't permitted in. If everyone made the effort, then make the effort. Out in front of my home on the street was a white, beautiful horse and carriage, two white stallions, huge carriage, just to set up the vibe. And then you walked up the driveway, through my great room, through the atrium to the backyard. Now, when you walked in, you had to stop and you had to be announced by the gentlemen, the two gentlemen, one on either side, who would properly introduce you and your date. Dun, 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 with horns. Dun, 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 dun. Now presenting Mr. Such and Such and Ms. Such and Such. And they'd be escorted to their table. So in the backyard, there were about, 20 tables, no, maybe 30 tables of 6, something like that. And everyone was dressed exquisitely. So you got announced. You were seated at your table. The menu was, I don't remember, a rack of lamb and duck, and it was just ridiculous. So a little about the ambiance. So over my pool, I had a very large pool, I had a moat or a bridge built. And on this moat were 4 violinists were playing. And then if you looked up to your right, depending on where you were sitting, the top floor of my house was just my living area, my bedroom. And on the my bedroom. And if you open the balcony doors to my bedroom, there was a large terrace where you could look down and oversee the party. So up there, I had a harpist. So the harpist is there, the violins are going. You getting the vibe, right? So when it was time to dance before, we did the DJ thing, we actually played, some very civilized music, the people were dancing very fabulously, But after 1 o'clock it changed. But anyway, um, so it was very civilized. It was amazing. It was beautiful. Um, However, I did have this one guest, my publicist, rest his soul, Ken Reynolds. He showed up in a tattered shirt, torn up pants, with a ball and chain around his ankle that he proceeded to walk in and drag. He was announced, dun, 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 ladies and gentlemen, presenting Kenneth Reynolds. Well, Kenneth walks in and the people are staring and he said, I don't know what y'all black folks was doing back then, but we were slaves. He was. He was my favorite costume of the whole night. Now, I of course, had on this white cutout, pearl and rhinestone, but subtle embroidered something with a white powdered wig, and it was crazy. It was crazy. Um, my mom had on this big, huge ball gown. It was just exquisite. And when I think back on it now, it was Bridgerton 20 something years ago. Dinner for two in the 20th century. Another party I had was coming back to America. So at this party, of course, there's Loretta Devine, Jackie Harry. Oh my gosh, it was so long ago. Loads. All of Black Hollywood. All of Black Hollywood. And me, because I'm a theater dude, and then I'm a music dude, and a fashion dude, and a comedy, like some of my best friends are Kim Whitley and Lunell and Sherry Shepard and Niecy Nash. Comedians, started out as comedians. So I'm in all of those worlds, and all of those worlds were at my party. This invitation went out on VHS tapes. In one of my rooms in the house was set up like a jungle. So I had this idea to have a coming back to America party to coincide with the movie Coming to America. So I am in a head wrap, no shirt, a loincloth, and a cane. Welcome to celebrate your royalty. Oh, and I just went, and I had a script. So I invited everybody to my coming back to America party. Upon arrival, there were in my front lawn a giraffe, a camel, a tiger, a lion, a monkey, and there was something else that I don't remember. Oh, elephant in my front lawn. I'm upstairs, like I said, the top floor is all my bedroom or whatever. And the front of my bathroom faced the front lawn. So if I open the window, I could look out and see the party going on. And that's what I did. I got myself ready. Oh, let's talk about what I had on though first. My former love, see, I still love her, Victoria, who was my wife at the time, who was a designer, a celebrity designer, created for me a brown suede suit. So the suit was a standard sport coat, brown suede, and brown suede pants. But the brown suede was all covered in peacock feathers. What? Please. And peacock feathers. I decided that I want to, of course, be fashionably late, but I want to look out and see how the people are dealing with the animals. I go over to that bathroom window and slid that door open, and that giraffe was meeting me just like that, nose to nose. And I tell you, I closed that door and almost peed on myself. I said, what the hell? Fine. So after I calmed down, when I went out, I noticed again the news. I did not know that the traffic was blocked up, had to be for a mile, because everybody was stopping, getting out of their cars, taking pictures. I did not do any of this stuff on purpose. This is all hindsight. And the more I speak, the more I realize why my neighbors hated me. When I tell you that, I wish I had these pictures. Loretta Devine, when that doggone giraffe went to look at her, she ran from one side of the yard to the other side of the yard. It was an amazing, amazing party. And then I had African dancers in the driveway, and they were hitting it. And, it was crazy. In the backyard where we actually ate, I had huts built. So again, this was tables of 8. These were tables of 8. So I had huts built. So everybody ate in their designed hut, and then we just danced all night. The menu was fufu and jerk chicken, and Ken, you would have loved that. It was Africa, man. It was everything. One of the most proudest parties that I had, because I got a chance to just celebrate us on the other spectrum, because we was ghetto fabulous and now we African royalty, but it's all us. So yeah, so that was that party. There is one party that I'm not that proud about, but is what it is. So I don't even quite remember what the party was about or what it was for. I do know that I believe RuPaul was there, Jerry Springer was there, a lot of people again. This party was borderline embarrassing and yet empowering, because I don't know if it was a party or a party slash event, if I was celebrating a release. I don't know. But in either case, there was no particular dress code. Whenever you came to Youngwood Court, you were always dressed, but there was no mandatory dress code. I had about 200 guests, I guess. I hired a white DJ. I have no clue why I did that. In hindsight, I think it was to remind me. Just keep that in your head. Just to remind me. But party's going great. Everybody's mingling. Everyone's having a good time. I am upstairs in my bedroom I think I'm hanging out with Benny Medina, who's J. Lo's manager now. He was my best friend. Hanging out with Benny and maybe one or two other people. I don't know. But all of a sudden, and I had the doors open, and all of a sudden the music stops. I'm like, what the hell? And as I'm walking down the steps, I'm hearing him say, I'm not playing any more music until I get the rest of my money. We all know that you get a deposit, and then when you're done the job, you get the balance. And I heard that fool say, I am not playing any more music until I get the rest of my money. Here's the only thing I remember, y'all, for real. My sister, Tanya, who was my twin, but not really. I'm older, but ooh, we think alike without even speaking. She was on one end of the pool. I was on the other end of the pool. The DJ was in the center. She looked at me. I looked at her. We nodded our head. We met where the DJ was. We threw him in the pool, followed by his equipment. So, in hindsight, thank you, Jesus, he didn't get electrocuted, but his shit was in the water. So, for that maybe balance of $1,000, he touted and was proud of his new equipment and the best of the best and the ruined. So he's in the water with the records floating and the speakers, and all the equipment is in the pool. The party applauded. They went wild. So when I said, I think that was done to remind me how powerful we are. Just our mere existence. Just our mere existence in harmony was too much for him. After he got out the water and walked to the driveway to his van, I guess, to try to figure it out. And my mother is the most graceful, poised woman that one could meet. I see her walking to his van, and all she said to me was, Mommy got this. I have to do this. So he's sitting in the driver's seat, drying off. And my mother says, you have to tell me why you did that. You have to give me some kind of explanation. I'm Norwood's mother, and I need an explanation. He says to her, I don't know what came over me. I just suddenly got so jealous. My mother said, "How did that work out for you?" And she walked away. So I turned on the music through the house system, and we had a great night. My sister and my ESP, baby, still to this day. Okay, so I had a Halloween party, but I didn't have it at my house. We found an old barn slash warehouse. Very old, rusty, and just old and ugly. Perfect for Halloween. We had loads of hay. The food was really gory and nasty looking, like skeletons with blood and skeleton heads with blood and salad. And I personally wasn't eating it because it looked too nasty, but they said the food was good. Okay, so at this party was Queen Latifah was there, Mickey Rourke was there, I think Heavy D was there. It was just, Kim Whitley was there. Of course, I had to have a it factor. So I had a barmaid for alcohol, a bar. It was about 20 feet long, right, U-shape, but it was lucite, so it was see-through. So inside the bar, I had filled with white mice and rats. So when you were ordering your drink, them little suckers was. I dressed up as Cruella de Vil, the black and white wig, got out the Rolls Royce with the Dalmatians, and it was great. The thing with renting this property is that if you go overtime, they were charging $1,000 for every half hour. That wasn't going to fly. So I told the guests, we have to be out of here by 2 o'clock. So at 1:30, turn the lights on and ask everybody to please leave. These folks were drunk. These folks were paying me no attention. And I'm like, okay, there's more than one way to skin a cat up in this piece. So around about 1:45, I told the bartenders to release the rats and release the mices. When I tell you that within 10 minutes, that place was empty. 5 minutes to 2, not a soul there. So that was, yeah, that was one of my favorites. That was one of my favorites. So with all my parties that I had become notorious for, the one that most people really, really looked forward to were my birthday parties and my Christmas parties, because without a doubt, it was going down. My childhood Christmas was almost like a fairy tale because I lived in a corner home like I did in Hancock Park. And at Christmas time, my parents, particularly my mother, went way overboard. Way overboard. Huge sleighs, huge Santa Clauses, black of course. Huge, just lights and lights and lights and lights and lights. In New Jersey, where I grew up, there was always snow. So doggone every Christmas was a white Christmas. So when I came to LA, Christmas was still a big thing for me mentally. So I had to figure out how I would emulate or try to duplicate that same vibe, that same energy. So at Christmas time, I would put white Santa Claus hats on all the statues. And then I had snow brought in, real snow. Snow in the yard, snow on the street, on the sidewalk, just snow. And then what had to have been over, I think, 50,000 white lights that lit up the whole house. The entrance to my driveway, I opened the gate and I had a gingerbread house made around that. So you enter through a gingerbread house with all real candy from the 99-cent store. All real candy. And it was a sight to behold. So, imagine driving again, traffic. I promise you on my life I never did anything like that. I didn't consider it, but that's what happened. So, imagine coming around the corner, hearing Christmas carolers in costumes, and I think we might have some footage of this stuff. As long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow. That's a Christmas card. Oh, and then seated in the middle of the yard were mannequins, black mannequins, of Mr. and Mrs. Claus with their fist up like that. Good night, church. It was amazing. So you had the carolers and the snow, but the party, the actual party, was on the inside. Those Christmas parties were legendary.
Holy night, the stars are bright, they shine.
So Shaka would come and sing, and Mickey Howard would come and sing. Darius McCreary would come and sing. Lunell would come and sing.
Crazy Lunell.
Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child.
And she got it on the party too.
Just magical. So I recreated at Christmas time the love and the energy and the joy at home. And of course, because it was December 25th, Jesus' birthday, we had a birthday cake for Jesus and we sang happy birthday for Jesus. Happy birthday, dear Jesus. Happy birthday to Gospel Andy. And then, I guess around 1 o'clock, the eggnog started kicking in, and then the party just went crazy. We had a ball every year. Natalie Cole came and sang. Michael Stray.
They run the shelter downtown called New Image. They have them in Long Beach as well. But I'm donating all the toys that we received tonight to New Image Shelter downtown.
Of course, my baby Kim Whitley came, followed by Sherry Shepard, and her producer John Murray. Then my PR team Reed Rich and Walisa Bennett.
And then Vivica Marshall in the house.
My Christmas parties were amazing, just amazing. So then I also had a Ghetto Fabulous party. Now, at my Ghetto Fabulous party, lots of people came. MC Light was there. Missy Elliott was there. Tisha Campbell was there. Just Biz Markie. Loads of people. The deal is this. So I sent the invitations. Now, this is prior to email, and I loved that snail mail thing. So I sent the invitations on food stamp booklets. So I had my assistant find some food stamps, and then we had them copied. So on the food stamps invitation, it explained it was a Ghetto Fabulous party where your most fabulous ghetto, be creative. And so I was getting all these calls. Are you serious? Yes, very serious. So when the guests start arriving, when I tell you, all right. So Tisha came with a pacifier in her mouth and a crop top, hoochie shorts. I mean, just ghetto. MC Light, gold teeth, baseball hat. Then a couple women came in bedroom slippers, bathrobe, hair in the pink sponge curlers. I want to read a little bit from my book so I don't miss anything out about the Ghetto Fabulous Party. So, a Ghetto Fabulous Party. This party was a playful look at the other side of what we as black folk do and how we live. My invitations were sent out in a food stamp booklet. When you arrived, security patted you down and also waved that electric wand over you. In my driveway was a real pimp that I had met on Crenshaw Boulevard. When I saw him on Crenshaw in his lowrider with his hat cocked to the side of his head, I knew I had to invite him to my party. authenticity. He showed up in an old metallic red Cadillac bouncing up and down with the hydraulics, complete with his 2 girls in the driveway. I had girls braiding hair on the front lawn, as well as folks playing spades and dominoes. I had a clothesline. I had a clothesline with clothes that hung from one statue to statue. And of course, there were many guests smoking weed and drinking 40 ounces in the backyard because I had refrigerators with no doors that were filled with 40 ounces, Schlitz malt liquor, Coke 45. So when the guests were done drinking, they threw the empty bottles with the bags into the pool. Ghetto. I wore my urban streetwear. Boo boo. It was a multicolored 2-piece shorts outfit with a matching skull cap and gold teeth. My guests were instructed to dress as if they were straight from the hood, and they did just that. One woman came in with her hair in curlers, pink sponge curlers, and wore bedroom slippers. Many of the guys had on white beaters and pants that hung under their butts. The women dressed like hoochies, with booty shorts, high heels, and just craziness. The most exciting moment of the evening was at midnight when the helicopter I hired hovered over the backyard with searchlights, announcing the names of some guests and telling them they were being watched. Child support needed to be paid. Back tickets need to be paid. We partied all night long, and I never drank so much beer in my life. Good times, good times, good times. The party that I am most proud of, and probably my last party, was the August after Michael died. Michael was born on August 29th. I was born on August the 28th. So I decided that in lieu of just having a birthday party for me, I wanted to celebrate the king. So I had a 2 kings celebration. I being the King of Hancock Park, Michael Jackson, of course, being Michael Jackson, the king of pop. King of everything, in my opinion. On my front lawn, there were, I'd say, 20 feet to 25 feet cutout statues, one of Michael, one of myself, and I had a jumbotron on top of my roof where I got up and I spoke to my guests. I welcomed my guests. I was scared as hell because that means I had to climb on the roof, but that's another story. So I'm talking to my guests. In the middle of my roof above the door, I had an enormous, I think I might have pictures of this. I had an enormous crown built for the 2 kings. There was a throne that was built in the middle of the yard with a picture of Michael and a picture of myself for people to take photographs in. This party was amazing. This was also the year that President Obama was elected into office. So it was just historical on so many levels. In the backyard, it was really, really beautiful. So this time on the statues, I had Michael Jackson Thriller jackets on each statue. Oh, my neighbor. I get it now. I get it.
When you came up and you saw all of this, what was your initial thought?
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you what. I was not even surprised. I thought, of course, Norwood would. If not him, then who?
Yeah.
So I was not surprised. I was like, it's as it should be. It's who doesn't have a larger than life lanyard of themselves and the King of Pop in the front yard with little Roman gods in Thriller jackets? Who doesn't do that?
And the music was, Michael's music was playing, my music was playing. Again, everybody was there. Lisa Ray, Michael Collier was a comedian. What my guests didn't know is that I had a little trick up my sleeve. I decided that I want to hire a Michael Jackson impersonator who was amazing, and dancers and recreate Thriller. That's very Halloweenish, ghouls and the whole nine. So while it's dark now, so while the guests are doing what they do and having fun at their tables, I systematically had the dancers place themselves somewhere around the guests. The guests were paying them no mind. And then I had a stage built, and the backdrop of the stage was Michael Jackson's Dangerous cover. It was absolutely beautiful, stage lighting, the whole thing. So all of a sudden, you hear pow, and the white lights come on, and all of a sudden these ghouls to the track of Thriller are walking up to the stage and climbing up on the stage. It was amazing. And then to end the show, I sang We Are the World and Man in the Mirror.
We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. All we gotta do is try. Make a better day. Just you and me. It's so true, yeah. It's true. Make a better day. Just you and me. We love you, Michael. We love you. Good night.
So it was celebrating Michael, celebrating myself, celebrating Obama. It was a night to remember. And I think that was probably my last party. So listen, that's it for this week. Be sure to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and no, okay. So be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us. Next week, I got some more juicy stuff for y'all. Trust me. See you then. Bye.